Hey, what's going on? It's Bill Burr, and this is the Monday Morning Podcast, I hope. And I don't know what to do here. Should I just keep babbling? Because it seems that if I just go, test 1, 2, 3, cunt, and then I hang up, it doesn't have a fucking problem with just posting a short one. But then when I babble for like an hour, at least this was last week. I'm judging this entire thing on last week, so I'm going to take a leap of faith here, and I'm just going to do this goddamn podcast hoping that it's going to save it. So, with that, hey, what's going on? It's Bill Burr, and it's the Monday Morning Podcast for the week of, what the hell is it, February 1st, February 2nd? Is that what it is? I don't know. Yeah. What'd you guys think of the Super Bowl? Did you like it? Did you think it was amazing? You know what it was like? It was like that movie Step Brothers. I don't know if you saw it. Like, Step Brothers, the first fucking half hour, 40 minutes, you're watching it going, this might be the worst fucking movie I've ever seen. And then all of a sudden it just became hilarious. And I was like, wow, I think I got to own this on DVD. That's what I felt like the Super Bowl was like. You know? First fucking, I don't know what, 3.5 quarters? Whatever. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers, you sons of bitches. You're right back fucking out there. 6 championships. You guys rose up from the ashes. You know, you won your 4 in the 70s, and then we didn't hear shit from you. For what, almost 20, 25 years or some shit? And now you're right back out there. Right by the Cowboys and 49ers, and somehow you got 3 more championships than the Patriots. And I got to admit, that bugs me. I was pulling for the Cardinals just for the simple fact I didn't want to be 3 behind you. But you got to admit, you guys fucking won it. I didn't think Ben Roethlisberger had that in him. And, Jesus Christ, why am I breaking down the game like I'm on fucking ESPN? Nobody gives a shit, Bill. No one gives a fuck. So anyways, last week I tried to do a podcast, and I gotta admit, I'm a little burned out on these fucking things. You know, last week it just really took a lot out of me. I'm not saying I don't enjoy doing them, but I did 2 50-minute fucking podcasts, and I went to hit save, and the fucking computer voice is just like, we're having technical difficulties. Goodbye. And we just hang up just like that. There wasn't even a I'm sorry. You know, if you have a problem, maybe you could, dial this number. It was just like, we're having technical difficulties. Goodbye. And the way she says goodbye was like, go fuck yourself. You know, 2 50-minute podcasts. You know, my fucking left ear was red for like 3 days talking on the phone that fucking long, and I had nothing to show for it. You know, my 14 listeners just hanging in the balance, waiting to hear the results of the contest of who could come up with an original, I've got my fucking prostate tickled joke, you know, with a Bill Burr, why do I do this DVD hanging in the balance, and what do I get? What do I get? I get some shitty-ass fucking computer voice. Goodbye. Who is that computer voice anyways? You know what I mean? I hope it's in an abusive relationship. You know, that's not even advocating violence against women. I'm advocating violence against that female computer fucking voice. It needs to be slapped around by a goddamn, what is it, an android? Is that what happens nowadays? You know what, this is what happened to me the other day. I went to the Super Bowl party, and everything was going great. And I was feeling like the party was enjoying me and my presence. And I don't know how it happened. Somehow I just became that fucking guy again. The guy who was ruining the party. Somehow somebody brought up Bob Dylan, and I was just like, I've tried so hard to listen to that guy, but I kind of think he sucks. You know, I can't understand what he's saying. And even when I've looked at his lyrics, I don't think they're that deep. Oh, the times they are changing. You know, I don't mind that Tangled Up in Blue. That's an alright song. He went but he would do. And a habba-dee, but a ho, and a hee, but a hoo. Tangled up in blue, you know? Am I doing a hacky fucking... I really am. I'm doing really one of the hackiest impressions out there, other than Jim from Taxi. I'm doing a fucking bad Bob Dylan. So I just said, this is what, I really didn't have an opinion one way or the other about Bob Dylan. I kind of thought he was okay, but I always read Rolling Stone magazine because, I'm always going to airports, and it comes out every couple of weeks, whatever the fuck it does. So I always pick it up, and, the upper level management of Rolling Stone, I mean, I guess they're from the 60s, and in their world, Bob Dylan can do no wrong. And, I don't know. The guy's on like his 85th album, and he's still getting rave reviews in Rolling Stone. Just one of Bob's greatest fucking works since his 78th album. You know what I mean? I don't know. Maybe I'm just a douche. So it started with that, and then Bruce Springsteen was the halftime show, and that's another guy I just look at, and I don't know what everybody's so going crazy about. Him just singing about factories in New Jersey. I don't get it. Him sliding on his knees into the camera and doing that stupid yoga pose on that strip pole when he started out, and doing the Poison with the fucking guitar around your back. I don't get it. And at that point, only a couple beers in, and after saying that Bob Dylan sucked, I then said Bruce Springsteen sucked. Which then moved on to people getting, in a funny way, upset. And next thing you know, I had three people semi-yelling at me going, well, who would you have? Who would you have for the halftime show, huh? Who would you have? And I couldn't come up with anybody. So I just said, you know what I'd have? I'd have a fucking marching band, the way they used to, when only sports fans watched the fucking show, and they just showed you a football game, and they weren't trying to sell me the next fucking Britney Spears album. How about that one? Back in the day, when those racist white guys would show up to the games, wearing a fucking short-sleeve Michael Douglas falling down white button-up shirt with the black tie, and those Malcolm X Vince Lombardi glasses, and a crew cut. All right, that's the football I remember. So then they started calling me Gran Torino, like I was Clint Eastwood. Has anybody seen that movie, by the way? I don't know. I don't know if I want to watch Clint for fucking an hour and a half going, get off my lawn. Hey, you person of another race, get out of here. That's a really weird movie when you think of the concept. Like, what does the Gran Torino represent? Like back when things were better, when people had pride and there was more racism, or at least overt racism in this country? Is that what the message was? Well, I don't know, Bill. Why don't you go see the fucking movie before you rip it apart? Well, speaking of that, we do a lot of, Jesus Christ, I hope that this fucking thing is recording right now, because I really feel like this is going to be a decent podcast here. Because I got a nice segue. Speaking of movie reviews, a lot of you guys have sent me movie reviews about stuff you liked, and then you've trashed movies that you haven't liked. And I got to tell you something. Somebody took the piss out of that. I've never... Where the fuck is it? Oh, here we go. I got it right here. Somebody fucking did a review of Slumdog Millionaire. And do you ever, sort of enjoy a movie, and then you meet somebody, and they so rip it to shreds so convincingly that you start thinking, hey, maybe it did suck. I saw Slumdog Millionaire. I took my girlfriend there with her mom. She was in town, and they loved it. Yeah, it's a chick flick or whatever. But I walked away, from it thinking wow, I should have been more of a romantic, instead of the fucking asshole that I am. That's what I got out of the movie. And I thought it was a decent movie. But now that this dude fucking trashed it, I don't know if I could ever watch it again. Here is this guy's, overrated, Slumdog Millionaire. All right, buckle up for this one. All right, here we go. This is his review. Imagine a Sally Struthers sponsor a child ad meets Faces of Death meets Forrest Gump. Let me read that a little more clearer. I apologize. I'm the worst. Imagine a Sally Struthers sponsors a child ad, meets Faces of Death, meets Forrest Gump. The first 90 minutes of there's kids covered in shit sleeping on garbage, blend in some child prostitution and a guy running around looking like the cover art on Rage Against the Machine's first record. We see the kid's mom get beat to death not once but at least 3 fucking times. The movie is like Transformers or any other bombastic chase scene blow-up flick, but instead of Bruce Willis fucking up cars, kids get abused to shock and awe the audience. It also has more cliches than a cop buddy flick. The Indian guy works at a call center in Mumbai for cell phones and says shit like, well, we'll just live on love. Am I butchering this? To top it off, fate and luck make the Indian guy rich and happy. Is that what they want us to believe in these days? Just let things happen to us and we'll get by? Really? That overhyped turd got 10 Oscar nominations. The Godfather got 11. Because Slumdog Millionaire has poor people in India, no one has the balls to stand up and say it's just a glorified B movie. The Academy thinks they need to teach the American public a lesson, just like they did with Crash and Brokeback Mountain. This snuff flick is not a meaningful comment on the human condition either. It's just another marketing con job. It has as much soul as Michael Bolton and as much substance as a John Grisham novel. Jesus Christ. I think it's that last paragraph that got me. I got to agree with you on that. The Academy thinks they need to teach America a lesson. I don't think that they need that. I think the Academy doesn't really hang out with anybody other than the Academy. So whenever they see a movie about tragedy, about a group of people that they don't really know anything about, they automatically say it's brilliant. Because I'm going to tell you something right now. I agree with you. Crash sucked. That movie fucking sucked. It wasn't groundbreaking. There was nothing going on. It was hacky. It was the whole thing was fucking stupid. And when I saw Oprah going on TV going, oh my God, this is such an important movie, it's like, no, it isn't, Oprah. It's not an important movie, okay? You don't know what the fuck you're talking about, and you don't read all those books that you recommend every week, okay? There's no fucking way you have time to have your own fucking TV show, your own fucking magazine, and a weird relationship with a Cocker Spaniel, and read a 400-page fucking novel every week, all right? So you got no credibility with me, okay? And that movie, Brokeback Mountain, that was 2 gay guys fucking in a tent. You know, it's basically a chick flick. It's like, I don't know, Grizzly Adams meets Harvey Milk. No, that's not good. Well, you need something gay in there. It's like the Ice Capades meets Fistful of Dollars. That gets shoved up your ass. Thank you. No, I got it. You know something? I think, yeah, Slumdog Millionaire, I think it's a really good movie. I actually should have done the whole spoiler alert thing because I realized halfway through that review he wasn't necessarily reviewing it as he was just sort of telling you what happens. I should have just read the last paragraph. So I apologize to any chicks out there who wanted to go see that movie. It's definitely a good movie. You should go see it. How about that? Does that make you feel better? But anyways, I don't know. What do you guys think about that? You know, that's another thing. If you knew my podcast, I realize that I'm a fucking moron, if you haven't figured that out for yourself yet. So I ask questions. Like I asked, I was kind of curious. Being an angry guy, I had a question about Asian culture where, you know, I just don't see the anger. You know what I mean? Like, I went, they got this fucking skating rink out in Burbank, some of the worst ice I've ever skated on in my life. And I was talking a couple weeks ago how I was skating over there. It was in the middle of the day because I hate going to the fucking gym, so I figure I'll just start skating around like a fag in the middle of the day. There's no way for me to say I went ice skating by myself in the middle of the day and just not feel like the biggest pansy ever. But I did it, okay? God damn it. And I came home and I jerked off to some heterosexual porn just to make sure I was still okay. But anyways, so I'm sitting there skating around there, just, you know, that thing, letting the momentum take me where it wants to go. And there was this group of Asian kids there, and the fucking two of them kept falling down on the ice really fucking hard, and they never seemed to get upset. They always laughed. And I was just like, really? I can see the first couple of times you feel silly. There's some girls there you're with, you laugh, but at some point you got to be like, you got to start to realize that it's killing your opportunity to hook up, and then don't you start getting mad, but they never did. So I asked the question, where is the anger? So somebody wrote in, said, Bill, I'm Japanese-American, but I have witnessed my fair share of East Asian enigmas. I think I have an explanation for the ice skating, ass-busting, unyielding Asian persistence phenomenon. Yeah, because the dude just kept getting up. He'd laugh, he'd get up. He wouldn't even dust the snow off the back of his head. He just kept going, and he was happy as hell. I was fascinated with that level of I don't know, denial or happiness, but I want to have that look on my face at some point in my life. And I'm 40. My life's half over. So anyway, she goes, as you know, Asian people, especially men, are robots. Actually, I didn't know that. They aren't programmed to show frustration or anger after many failed attempts. This is in large part why they can defy the laws of physics in the fields of gymnastics and can do martial arts in the air and along rooftops. All right, she's breaking my balls here. Let me finish this. However, even though they generally are void of most emotions, especially in public, Asians are weak to the lure of booze. They get rosy-cheek wasted, and nothing can sully their alcohol-induced giddiness, not even repeated ice-to-ass impact. So my suspicion is that you witnessed just that, the mechanical persistence of uncoordinated robots, a.k.a. drunk Asians on ice. That would be a great, show. Drunk Asians on ice. Speaking of the ice capades, whoever thought that would come back around again? Fucking drunk Asians on ice would put the ice capades out of business. Kind of like, is the UFC hurting wrestling at this point? You know what I mean? That would be the fucking UFC of ice capades. Drunk Asians on ice. All right. So anyways, you guys want to get into the contest here? I'm going to try to keep this podcast a little bit shorter. I'm already up to 17 minutes here. I'm going to try to keep it right around the half-hour mark because I'm afraid that, I'm using up too much digital time here. So anyways, as most of you guys know, I said I was 40, so I got the physical, and then I had to get the old prostate fucking exam, and I was upset by it, because unlike Heath Ledger, I wasn't in a tent. Somebody wasn't whispering sweet nothings to me, and it was very fucking disturbing. And I wanted to talk about it on stage, but so many comedians, any comic, who's had that procedure done to them, fucking has gone on stage and talked about it. So I'm just like, there's no way for me to talk about it. Every joke is hacky. So I asked my 14-listener fucking podcast audience if they could come up with an original prostate exam fucking joke. I would do it on stage, and they would win a fucking DVD. So here are the finalists, and you guys are going to vote on these, so I can keep the whole interaction of this tremendous podcast going. All right, here's number one, entry number one, trying to give an original spin on the prostate exam. Please forgive my reading out loud, because I really noticed on this one I'm just not getting any better at it. And you know what happens, too, is the second I start fucking it up, I start panicking in my head, just like when I was in fourth grade. And then I try to rush to the end of it. And, it just brings back bad memories. I remember one time I read out loud in the fourth grade, and I got so fucking nervous, and I kept screwing up everything that I just started reading faster and faster. And when it was, because I figured out that everyone was reading 2 paragraphs out loud. And I fucked up halfway through the first sentence, so then I just through the rest of it, thinking I got out of it. And at the end of it, the teacher said, "I didn't understand one word he said. Did anybody else understand him?" And nobody said anything. And then she made me fucking reread it again. And by then, my mouth was completely dry. And it was, it still affects me. Not like a prostate exam, but it still affects me. So let's get on with the contest here. All right, prostate joke number one. Now, I got to admit, I thought you guys were just going to write quick little jokes, but people were writing Carlin-esque chunks on this shit. So, I'm going to have to relive my fourth grade nightmare here. Okay, joke number one. All right, keep score at home so you can vote for which one you like. Here's number one. Bill, you addressing the audience. Okay, well, thank you for the direction. I didn't think I'd be turned around addressing the curtain or fucking you in the green room just talking to yourself. All right, so everyone, I went and got violated by my doctor today. You've heard this horror story before. I got a prostate exam. You've probably also heard the joke about who the hell would ever want to grow up and do shit like that on a daily basis. Well, what I want to know is what kind of a person goes to school to learn how to teach other people, more people, how to do that shit on a daily basis? What kind of fucking sadistic teacher, what kind of sadist teaches other people the proper way to shove a finger up someone else's ass? They'd have to be a sadist. I could imagine the professor in the science practice lab with the other dummies going, "Hey, Bobby, you're being a little too soft. You really need to shove it up there good and dig around for that prostate." No. Step aside. I'll show you the proper technique. Wait till they either scream or whimper like a little kid. Then there's more. I love this. There's more direction for me. Walk to the other area of the stage. This person really went all out. Okay, so evidently I walk to the other side of the stage, and evidently there's another patient over there, at which point I say, "How we doing over here, George? You need to remember the lube, or you're going to get sued." I get it. The doctor wasn't using any lube. Okay, Jesus Christ, you're not wearing any gloves either, George? We got to stop letting these legacy students in, fucking morons. You could get a serious blister or shit on your finger or something. Jesus Christ, dude, you're really getting disgusting now. All right, here's the final bit. Now, class, most importantly, you need to develop your emotionless face skills. I'm serious. You want an A in this class, you better have a stone-cold face after you violate all the dummies. No laughing when they scream for mercy. I'm serious. They have speakers with audio... What? I'm serious. They have speakers with audio screams custom-fitted by me. I'm serious. All right, I don't get what the fuck that last line means. But, there you go. That's halfway decent. Do the whole doctor thing, I guess. I don't know. All right, this is number 2 of the Carlin-esque chunks, and I apologize. All right, that's joke number 1. Now, with my skills, I'm obviously only reading these once, so please keep score at home. All right, you get to do a little American Idol thing here. All right. Where the fuck are we? Bill, I completely agree with you that there's no real ground to break on the prostate exam jokes. But once you say free DVD, my brain short circuits. So below is my best attempt. All right, my wife and I have been together for 15 years. In that time, I've gone to the doctor once. She's probably gone 50 times. That John Wayne act comes at a price. There are procedures for every inch of a woman's body. Eye lifts, breast lifts, tummy tucks. Someone with 8 years of education at one of the finest schools on earth spent his time figuring out how to inject blowfish toxins into women's faces so they'd look younger. I mean, it doesn't stop there. Look at this, using classic stand-up jargon. And it doesn't stop there, people. What's a mammography machine cost? You know what? Costs a lot. And what does it do? It crushes tits. A CAT scan machine costs a lot too, but it can be used for anything. CAT scan might be a little noisy, a little scary if you have claustrophobia, but it doesn't injure you. A mammogram takes one of the most sensitive parts of the human anatomy, and it presses it until it hurts. That's it. $1 million, please. But guys got to be tough. No doctor visits unless something's falling off. So what fantastic piece of Jetson technology do we get? We get some MIT created. Do we get some MIT created imaging machine? No, a doctor's index finger. The same finger that he uses to get the attention of a bad waiter, that's the detective equipment, plus a rubber glove. I grew up in the 70s and 80s. I don't always remember rubber gloves, do you? Back in the 60s, when you'd see a doctor smoking on TV shows, Did they have gloves, or do they just have a bar of lava soap over on the side sink like a mechanic? Sorry I didn't shake your hand, Ted. No, Doc, really, that's okay. So there's his prostate exam one. By the way, I don't have anybody, you guys sent me your addresses, but I saved all your emails, so next week when I announce the winner, I do have your original email, so any of you fucking dirtbags out there who can try to pretend to be these people, I have all the original emails. So, if you win, please send me your address. Okay, here's a couple more. Bill, I see this is number 3. That last one was number 2, and the previous one was number 1. Okay, you guys all caught up? All right, number 3. All right, Bill, I see you got your ass tickled the other day. I don't know if anyone's ever done this angle, but you ever thought about one of those ass-tickling doctors being gay? Not saying that he enjoyed tickling your ass, but more like the same way if you're dating a gymnast, your friends think stuff like, oh, man, she must really know how to do some freaky shit because she's so flexible. A gay guy would be like, hey, I'm dating one of those ass-tickling doctors, and then his other gay friends would be like, wow, he must really know his way around an asshole. I don't know, that kind of sucked, but give me a DVD. You know what, dude, I don't think that did kind of suck. I'm going to be a little Simon here and say that wasn't that bad. That was actually, you know what, that was pretty original. Yeah, why am I letting you guys fucking decide? I'm the goddamn comedian here. You know what, fuck you guys. Right now, that one's in the lead. So you guys put your pens down. I just really killed a couple people's dreams there. People sitting in their cubicles. Do you know people actually tell me there's some people out there that actually listen to these podcasts to get through airplane flights because I make them so fucking long? Which means right now there's possibly somebody sitting on an airplane listening to the podcast, which I think is really cool. And, I feel bad for you that you're on a plane. And, how ugly is the person sitting next to you, by the way? That's one thing that always annoys me about when I get on a flight is, I don't know if this ever happens to you guys, but does somebody good-looking ever sit next to you? When do fucking hot chicks fly across the country? Because it's never on my flight. Or when do in-shape guys, fucking horrific-looking people. I'm not saying I'm helping anything, but, if you're on a plane right now, just pretend like you're turning around to see if the bathroom's available, and just look at the people. Do it. Oh, wait, go ahead. Turn around. Look at them. Look at that fat-headed Jack, big Fred Flintstone-looking fucking idiot sleeping with his mouth open. It's just horrific. You know what it is? It's the private jets. All good-looking people fly in those little fucking private jets. You just left all the ugly people in coach, which is what I'm flying, by the way. I'm not trying to put myself above people. Bill, can you get back to the contest? Fine, I will. All right, entry number 4. Bill, you know the classic family dinner scene where everyone is asking each other things like, how was work today? Well, there's really no fucking way you can ask your dad or husband to give you a legitimate response to that question if they're a proctologist, because in reality, he's been fingering dudes all day, and you're trying to finish your potato salad. You know what? That was a funny line, and I butchered it. God damn it. There's no way to legitimately ask a proctologist that because he's been fingering dudes all day, and you're trying to finish your potato salad. That, my friend, is a funny fucking line. So all his answers have to revolve around parking spots, routes to work, or maybe a receptionist's birthday cake. Also, how scared are the other dudes' faces in the waiting room? It has to be similar to the look soldiers gave each other before storming the beaches of Normandy. Dude, you know what? That's actually really true. I couldn't look at anybody when I was in there, and especially when I walked out. When I walked out, I looked at the floor. Remember that? Remember that in the Pope of Greenwich Village? And then you tell her she can't say goodnight to nobody. That way she got to look at the floor when she walks out, Charlie. That's what I was doing. I walked out looking at the fucking floor. You know what's funny is the guys in the waiting room technically could have given me shit because they still had the option of running out, which is exactly what the fuck they should have done. They should have ran out, just fucking hazed me all the way back to the fucking elevator. How'd you like that? How'd you like that, you little fucking douche? All right. I think I got one more here. You know what? You guys can decide on these fucking things. I'm not doing that. That was number 4. That was joke number 4. Pick up your pen. That was number 4. All right? And here's number 5. And this one, this guy's actually, you know what? Those are the 4 you can choose from. And this guy here is going to win an honorary DVD because he didn't email me. I was actually in Houston, Texas, and this fucking guy, I was doing radio on location in some bar, one of those fucking sports bars, and people are drinking beers and eating chicken wings at fucking 10 in the morning. And I'm doing radio in there, and as I come walking out, I don't know how this guy knew I was coming out, but he timed it perfectly. First of all, he knew where the fuck I was. I came walking out, and this car just pulls right up, like the FBI in Goodfellas, you know? Just pulls right up. He's like, "Hey, Bill Burr." And I got a little freaked out. I'm like, "Hey, what's going on?" He goes, "Hey, I got an entry for the prostate exam joke." Dude, I'm in a parking lot in the middle of fucking Houston outside some fucking dive bar at 10 in the morning. I'm not thinking about the podcast. I'm thinking about going to Denny's, and this fucking guy pulls right up and hands me 2 fucking complete sheets of paper. Prostate exam material is the heading. I felt like I was cheating on a test, you know? And this guy came back with all the answers. So I could only read half of this because I'm already at a half hour, and I want to make sure this thing gets posted. So here's the other one. This is the honorary one. Bill, I'm not sure how I'll be able to cope with the day I have a prostate exam as it draws nearer. Of course, I realize that I'm 8 years away, but it freaks me out now. Because I'm going to be a fucking mess when the time comes. Dude, can I be a worst fucking out loud reader, whatever it is? You never have to worry about me being behind a podium. Let me start this over again and fucking relax here. It's all right, Bill. There's 2 pages of stuff. You only have to read a half of it. You only have to read half of it. Look at me. I'm flustered. Literally flustered on my own podcast. All right, here we go. Bill, I'm not sure how I'll be able to cope with the day I have a prostate exam as it draws nearer. Of course, I realize that's about 8 years away, but if it freaks me out now, I'm going to be a fucking mess when the time comes. This all spawns from my homophobia and lack of confidence in my own manhood. Gotta love honesty in any joke. I mean, what if I like the shit? I'll have to get divorced again. My kids will have to ask why, and I'll have to tell my son, well, I left your mom because I like the doctor's giant sausage fingers poking around in my asshole, and you know what? It's just not fair to your mother. Then I'll have to go into why it's much worse to have enjoyed it during a medical exam and the ethics involved as opposed to just being a fag. You know who I blame? Society and my goddamn older brother. And it's not why you think. He made me watch The Hand That Rocks the Cradle when I was 15 before I fully understood how sick that lady's doctor was for slipping his rubber gloves off before her exam, and he fingered the shit out of her. Jesus Christ. What kind of movie is that? You know what I like about this guy? He's really not soft-pedaling this joke. He's really using brutal language here. Anyways, getting back to the movie. At first I was like, why the fuck did they arrest that guy? That was really fucking smooth. Keep in mind, I was 15 and thought any way at all to get my hands, face, or cock in, on, or near a real pussy was completely acceptable. Think about it. When you're a kid, societal rules and judgments don't apply. If you see a kid shit, you want it, you just beat the shit out of him and you take it. You go to detention and who gives a shit, right? Of course, I came to realize that those type of things are fucked up and you don't do that kind of shit. But to get back to the subject, when it came time to learn about prostate exam, my screwed up fucking head immediately thought of that movie, and I thought to myself, fuck, what if I'm the guy who's unlucky enough to get some sick, perverted, twisted doctor that wants to slip off his rubber glove and get his rocks off with his gay finger in my ass? Not only will I have to process being taken advantage of and violated, I'm going to have to refrain from beating the shit out of the guy to avoid prosecution, and then I'm going to have to investigate the guy and find out who else he violated, make a case against him, and then go to group therapy with a bunch of other poor schmucks that got fingered. All right, dude, I cannot read the rest of this, man. This is like fucking the original Count of Monte Cristo. It's like 700 pages long. All right. There are the entries. You tell me who had the best one out of those first four. This guy's going to get the honorary mention because that was actually really original. Because I guess, I don't know. All right, you want to hear my 2 cents? I like this guy's angle. The last guy I just read because, I don't know, he made it really personal and honest, and even though, it was kind of homophobic, he called himself out for being homophobic, And to be honest with you, I remember being a kid, too, thinking, I'd love to be a gynecologist, just as being a kid, you're a fucking pervert. But you know what it is? You forget that 80-year-old women also go to the gynecologist, So it's not a fun job. So even if you were a gay guy, just because you're a gay guy doesn't mean you like all gay guys. You know what I'm saying? What happens the day Lou Grant comes walking in there and you got to check? This is just really getting gross. You know something? I learned this is why I don't do sexual material on stage. I don't know if you guys have ever noticed that about me, but I stay away from it because I don't know if it's the Catholic guilt. I just always feel crude. Which is a funny realization to actually make on this podcast after I've been talking about prostate exams for the last fucking 2. So anyways, I don't know. I think it's a toss-up between that last guy, and I also like the guys who said, what if the guy, that angle where, the gay guy's going, oh, yeah, I'm dating a proctologist, and then the other gay guy friends are looking at him like he's lucky. Like, wow, he must really know his way around an asshole. That is such a fucking valid point, because he does. And I would think that gay guys would think that shit. The same way if someone was dating a gymnast, I'd be like, Jesus Christ, you must be inventing sexual positions. So whatever. Whatever. You guys send me in the ones that you like. You got to tell me why. And next week I'll do the big giveaway. So everybody's that I read, please send me your fucking address. And knowing me being a liberal fuck, I'll probably send you all DVDs because I don't want anybody to feel left out. Okay? So there you go. So how far are we in here? We're 37 minutes in. Once again, this is really long. Let me get to, you know what? I'm not going to get to the questions this week just for the simple fact that I'm afraid that they're not going to, post this one. So before I get out of here, I want to thank everybody. I didn't get a chance to last week. I really want to thank everybody who came out to see me in Houston, Texas last week, or 2 weeks ago. I couldn't believe the amount of people that showed up. Actually sold out a couple of shows, and they got a new club owner out there who just really knows what the hell he's doing, and I'm definitely going to be back. And I'd like to thank Nicole for showing up. Part of my fan club, always coming out to my gigs, and that's it. And this week I'm up in Boston. I got the Wilbur Theater on February 6th, and then I got Chicopee, Massachusetts. And if you live out in Western Massachusetts, if you don't want to drive all the way to Boston, I'm going to be Chicopee, Massachusetts. One of my favorite gigs. I actually, back in the day, I used to open up for David Alan Grier there, Bobby Collins, all these big shots. And now I'm there, so I feel like a big shot. And plus, it's a Chinese fucking restaurant. You know what I mean? How great is that? I hope they don't even have stage lights. I hope my face is just lit up by the flames of the poo-poo platters, and I can tell fucking ghost stories. So those are that's my gig this weekend. My next gigs I have coming up, I got Wise Guys in Ogden, Utah, on February 20th, and then I'm taking a little bit of break. Going to be performing mostly out here in the L.A. area until March 26th through the 28th. I will be at the House of Comedy in East St. Louis, Missouri. So please come out to see my show. Thanks, everybody, for listening to the podcast. I really hope you guys get to hear this one because I'm sick of fucking talking and not having anybody hear it. All right? That's it. God bless you. Congratulations to the Pittsburgh Steelers. And how about those Bruins? Huh? Beat the Canadians again. Can you believe it? Can you fucking believe it? All right. That's it. Everybody have a good week. I'll talk to you.